Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night wherever you're from. And real quick, before we get started, as always, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to these lovely commanders here that you see on screen. Thank you guys so much for your guys' constant generosity and support to me as always. It really means a lot to me, so thank you guys so much. If you guys are actually interested in becoming a lovely commander yourself, if you are interested in any of these cute and lovely emotes, loyalty crown badges, you want a special role in the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. But as always, if you choose to do so, thank you so much. Just remember, that's not the only way that you can support me. Just watching the content like you are right now is truly the best way. Liking, subscribing, and commenting, everything really does help, so thank you guys so much. And for today's video, with getting the pulls out of the way, discussing the whole drama situation with the skins, enjoying the ongoing bunny event, there are some stuff that I want to talk about still, and that's in regards to Ade'S. She is having some good results right now, but as always with these type of videos, when we break it down, I like to talk about it in 3 categories. I like to talk about the incoming timing of everything right now and wherever your account is at. I love to talk about the waifu aspect, but that is always subjective. But then I also like to talk about the equipment, the skills, and then get down to testing results and yapping about it. So let's get started. And right now is honestly a diabolical time when it comes to wanting to pull for Bunny Ade'S. Like, she looks fantastic, and she does have some promising results that we're going to talk about. But right now, it's kind of a question mark whether you should even pull. Because we know that we're getting the Resident Evil collab, we just don't know when. We know Anniversary's getting there. Then we also have limiteds with Christmas and then New Year's. It's a rough time right now to want to try to pull for a standard character. But not only that, we have all of these other characters right now, and it's kind of scary because there are a batch of characters that you can pull for right now that are all limiteds right now. These are all limiteds. So if you're going to prioritize anything, you're going to prioritize pulling for these limiteds and just saving from the standard, which makes sense. It's honestly a diabolical time right now, and unless you're really into solo raid, I feel like it's not really necessary to pull for Ade'S right now, but if you're pulling for the fan service and waifu aspect, by all means go for it. I'm just recommending it based on that. But while we're on the topic of Ade'S looks, let's talk about it real quick, because with the waifu aspect, I really like how they did Ade'S. She looks fantastic. And obviously I almost went broke for her, but she looks fantastic. I really love her design. Not only that, but they got the artist for the boob vein, which is insane. Really good pull. Yeah, belly button Ade'S right there, trying to cover it. And I love it so much. Not only that, but she has a bakery, dude. She looks so good. They did her justice. Insane booba. Insane assets looking good. Even her chibi is rocking it. She looks fantastic. So if you're pulling just on fan service alone, I completely understand. I mean, this is a Gunner game after all, so it makes sense. But let's talk about her skills right now and everything. So when it comes down to her skills, I actually have it at 7, 7, 10. Honestly, I feel like her skill 1 and skill 2, the amount of percentage between 4 to 7 to me really aren't as big as I want. So I feel like if you went 4, 4 for skill 1 and 2, I feel like that's actually fine. You don't really have to go to 7. I just do with characters like this just because I feel like I need to invest at least a bit. But with the burst skill, the amount of attack damage and pierce that you get is really, really nice. And because of her burst right here, I feel like she's always going to be in her effective range. So it's not really a big deal. So for me, you can even stay at 7, but I went all the way to 10 because I actually like her burst. So I don't mind it at all. But that's me. If you want to go budget, 4, 4, 7. And then if you want to try to go maybe a little bit more, you could go 4, 4, 10 or 7, 7, 10, up to you. Now, I do have an SR level 15 doll on her. I really enjoy this character. I equip resilience because she is a slow girl with her reload. But when it comes to OL, remember this is a support, so really like even elemental and attack and stuff, like it's not really that big of a deal. What you probably want to try to grab is like, if you can, like as like an extra, maybe go for charge speed. But your main focus is going to be trying to grab max ammo. And for me, I ended up grabbing 2 max ammos, gotten a decent amount of some goodish lines. She's not the best, but I'd say she's actually pretty good for where she's at. So I'm happy with it. But with all that out the way, let's talk about testing. So we're just going to talk about the testing results that I had. But for context for those results, I did water testing with the shotgun team with Doro, replacing Leona as well, and we could see the comparison. Then I did a fire team with Grave to, to show how big the pierce difference is, where she kind of lacks. But at the same time, I also did a team replacing Mari in the electric team, because that has some interesting results, and I wanted to talk about that. So give me 1 second. Sorry if it looks a little bit crusty. Zooming in, it might get a little difficult, but I'm trying. But the first team that we have here is the Water Shotgun team, like I mentioned before. We're using Tuve, Leona, Serendipity, Doro, Bunny Soda, and Drake. And right now, with this team, Doro is doing 5.5 billion. Sparkling Bunny Soda is doing almost 1.5 billion. Drake's so close to a billion, but she's just not quite there. But in comparison with replacing Leona and having Aid instead, we get around almost a 400 million increase for Doro. And also, Soda Bunny got a decent boost as well, around like 150 million, and Drake around like 150 as well. So pretty good boost overall. This piercing for her and the attack buffs are really helping out. Everyone else is taking advantage of the attack buffs, which makes sense. So I actually think that's really good flex if you don't really have an invested Leona, but you do have an invested Aid, and you want to try to put her here. I actually do see some value in this, which I thought was pretty nice. But here's some interesting stuff that I wanted to talk about where it kind of shows where she doesn't shine as much, which is fair. But I actually did a fire team using D-Killer Wife. I used Grave, Asuka Fire, I used Ray, and Modernia as just like an off, flex. And right now, D-Killer Wife is doing 700 million, Graves 1.7 billion, Asuka's doing 2 billion, Ray is 1.2 billion, Modernian's almost 2 billion as well. And I found that interesting because when we actually look at the differences, there is kind of a drop here. So Asuka went down like 300 million. Obviously, like Aid does not do much damage at all. So that's one of the biggest problems, is that Grave heals a lot, but she doesn't really give like attack, right? So it's the trade-off that even though Grave doesn't have much, she is a pretty damn strong character. However, unlike Aid, she doesn't. So that makes sense. Asuka went down. Honestly, Ray kind of stayed a little bit the same. It's not that big of a difference. Neither is Modernia. The biggest change here, honestly, was just for Asuka, who went down. So obviously, Grave just helps with that piercing more. And the last testing that I do want to talk about is something that I found interesting, and that's just the classic Cinderella team. Cindy doing almost 5.4 billion, Rouge doing 500 million, I'm doing 1.6 billion, Mari here as the burst 2 support, dealing 400 million, and Summer Anise over here doing 1 billion as just like helping the electrics, which is fine. But here's the difference that I thought was kind of crazy. So Cinderella's now doing 6.1 billion. That is a big increase right there. That's like almost like 800 million increase. Rouge stayed almost the same. She went up like probably like 50 million, but it's nothing like too crazy. Ayn took advantage of that attack up that you get from Aid. She also went up like almost like 150 million. And she did less than Mari, but even Summer Anise did a bit more as well. And I feel like that trade-off is actually insane. And for how big of a jump it was for Cinderella, at least in my case, I think it's worth the replacement, at least for the electric team, which is always going to be a flex in a solo raid anyway. So I actually think that's crazy. And she is really good. Now, honestly, the question with all of this is she going to maintain this level of support for where she's at? Or is the collab or the anniversary going to absolutely power creep? So we'll have to see. But in my opinion, if you're going to be pulling, at least pull one copy, especially if you're invested in solo raid, I think it's worth it. I'm really happy I kind of went all in because the results are great. I'm happy that she's doing great. So I can't wait to see how Milk is. So more promising stuff. I'm really excited. But that is going to be it from me. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Aid. Are you happy with how she turned out? Do you want her stronger? What do you think? Are you saving? Let me know. But that is going to be it from me. So I hope you guys have a lovely day, lovely night wherever you're from. And as always, thank you so much for the constant support. Take care and have a good one.